Wabure me goni gibawa. Ruba iba gari wone. Para diyo donde ibawa. Don't let me breathe.
Welcome to the media launch of the 13th International Garifuna Conference, being held under the theme in observance of National Heroes Month. It's being held under the theme Sacred Grounds, Strategic Goals, Inclusion, Reparations, Baliso, and the 2030 Pathway to Garifuna Empowerment. Let us prepare ourselves for the singing of our national anthem, please.
You me malu buidu uamuti wabagaibu afieti wabu wagu wagendagu babua kabalanuga haruga wawasiuba la isieni wa badinagwa la duba fuagu reme yurume malu buidu iutiharu matibiru aye ala sudi sewama wise bahari wagerale kabalanuga haruga wawaseuba la isieni wa badinagwa la lubafu agu reme suubu yurida wagera ondawama lida iseni luagu barana luagu beya maguchichube legeme chue kabalanuga haruga wawaseuba la isieni wa badinagwa la lubafu agu reme.
Thank you. Let us put our hands together for such fantastic singing. That sent shivers down my spine. Okay. May we all sit. Now, I want to let you know that what you just heard was not a simple, easy feat. These students had to go, they had to get the pronunciation, they had to work in the rhythm and everything. And the teacher with them is Miss Cleonique Durant, and she was ably assisted by the principal of the school, who is none other than Miss Wendy Child. I'm going to ask the teacher to come forward and give us a little idea. How did you accomplish that feat?
Good morning to everyone. So I am here as a representative of my school, Fancy Government School, Cleonique Durant Niribe. That is to say my name is Cleonique Durant in Garifuna. And at the Fancy Government School, we are very big on culture. We are very big on claiming our Garifuna identity. And over, I want to say about 3 years now or so, we have been practicing the language in our classrooms, in our school, as a whole school, because our school is quite small. So we usually do it together. We do it through song and just generally greeting each other on mornings in Garifuna. So the students can at least say Good morning, how are you doing? I am fine, and I hope you are okay too, right? And our principal has been instrumental in this because she would learn the song, she would write and make out the charts and everything, and so they are seeing the language and then they are practicing it. So what you see here today is dedication of ourselves, our staff members, and dedication of our students, as they can proudly say, Pantatina Lau Garifunana. I am a proud Garifuna. Sarami, thank you.
Pankanina,
Pantatina Lau.
Pantatina Lau, Garifuna. Garifuna. Pankatina Lau, Garifuna. I am a proud Garifuna. Thank you. Oh my. I think this is such a wonderful thing to adopt in our schools, you know, where we at least, even as the first verse of our anthem, and then we move on to the second and the third. We may have to bring you down. We may have to bring you down. Thank you. That was really great. We now welcome the president of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, none other than Mr. David Darky Williams, who would welcome us this morning.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Before I go into my presentation, I just want to salute Clarice. This is not, and her as a teacher is not her first interaction with the Garifuna Heritage Foundation. As a matter of fact, she participated in programs. We had open island programs that we have had. I think she was she placed in the top 3 of our either essay or poetry competition. She participated in art competitions that we had put on. So she has been following the theme of Garifuna and the return of Garifuna. And Clarice, I want to encourage you to continue. When folks like me have to bow out, we are looking for your generation to take over. So congratulations on your work so far. With that, good morning. I want to welcome you to viewing, listening, this launch of activities by the Garifuna Heritage Foundation of the commemoration of National Heroes and Heritage Month. This year, our program contains our regular events as well as a couple of new items. The International Garifuna Conference is a staple for us during the course of National Heroes and Heritage Month. And secondly, the school's Garifuna Festival is also a staple. And with these two staples, we can add other things, and we will add other things from time to time that would help to enhance what we are trying to educate the public about. Last year, we introduced one of those new items, and it was an essay competition. That competition was, I can't say it was well subscribed to, because in any case, we started late on that. But there was that essay competition, and although we did not have this crush of entries, the quality of the few submissions we got was so excellent, and that is putting it mildly. We knew immediately after reading the entries, we knew we had to continue with this and make sure we get it out early. That has been done, so we look forward to, if not equal, surpass what we got last year. As a matter of fact, those presentations that placed first, second, and third were read at the national conference. And it was so impactful that one American businessman, he's a Garifuna man from Central America, he was in that audience, and he committed himself to financing or to offering finances for the continuation of this essay competition into the next 3 years. With that sort of talent being displayed, it would have been impossible for us to have a celebration again this year without including the essay competition. And so later on, when the list of activities for this year is read, you will get more details on that essay competition. That aside, the foundation continues to receive moral and material support for our activities every year. And we have collaborators such as the government of St. Vincent, government departments, especially in education, foreign affairs, and culture, support our activities right up to the hilt. And without that support, we could not have been as successful as we have been over the years. Volunteers chip in. We are not a membership organization, but we depend on volunteers to do the work such as this that you are seeing here this morning. And every event that you come to or hear about in the news that is put on by the Garifuna Heritage Foundation is assisted, or in some cases, totally produced by volunteers. I want to encourage the general public to volunteer with us, help to get this message out, help to build a foundation for the retrieval of the Garifuna history, the Garifuna culture, the Garifuna heritage. And we will appreciate that very much. I'm sure the country will appreciate the effort that you as volunteers will put in. Let me once again say welcome to our activities, and we look forward to personally meeting and greeting you. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Thank you, President Williams, the indefatigable David Darkey Williams. Moving steadily along, we will now have our very own from the university right here, Dr. Risa Noel Barnett, who is head of Barnett. Sorry, let me go it over. Dr. Risa Noel Barnett, who is the head of site here at the UE Global Campus, right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let's welcome her as she comes, please.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Please allow me to acknowledge the members of the head table, President of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, representatives from the Ministry of Education, etc., the Department of Culture, the National Public Library, Ackley Olton, film producer extraordinaire, Marlon Joseph, Ministry of, SVG Tourism Authority, colleagues from the Regional Integration Diaspora Unit, Chief Technical Advisor from the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, Mrs. Zola Ellis Brown, our students, teachers, members of the media, everyone, good morning. On behalf of the University of the West Indies Global Campus, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I am pleased to deliver brief remarks at this media launch for the Garifuna Heritage Foundation's program of events for the celebration of National Heroes and Heritage Month 2026. Planning events on this scale requires contributions from multiple stakeholders to ensure their successful execution. As such, the UWI Global Campus St. Vincent and the Grenadines is proud to stand with other stakeholders to offer support to the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, specifically our support of the Foundation's 13th International Garifuna Conference, scheduled for March 11th to the 13th, right here at the UWI Global Campus, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This conference holds immense cultural and academic significance, bringing together scholars, practitioners, and community members to celebrate and promote the rich cultural heritage of the Garifuna people, as well as to foster meaningful dialogue and cultural and knowledge exchange. Our support for the International Garifuna Conference also reflects the university's broader commitment to social responsibility and sustainable development in the region. As a premier educational institution in the region, the University of the West Indies is dedicated to advancing knowledge, fostering innovation, and promoting cultural diversity in all aspects of society. It is worth noting that the UWI rose in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings for 2026, placing us among the top 3.6% of higher education institutions worldwide. Yes. According to a release by the UWI Regional Headquarters on January 22nd, of more than 33,000 universities and higher degree granting institutions globally, only 2,191 from 115 countries qualified for ranking in the 2025 year-end assessment. The Times Higher Education Rankings measure performance across teaching, research, knowledge transfer, and international outlook. The release stated that the UWI continues to improve its relative position as the number of ranked universities increases each year. The release further stated that whether through pioneering climate change research, advances in public health, contributions to arts and culture, economic development initiatives, or social justice advocacy, the UWI continues to deliver outsized results despite fiscal and financial constraints. In conclusion, the University of the West Indies Global Campus here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is proud to continue our support of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation's 13th International Garifuna Conference. This partnership exemplifies our commitment to cultural preservation, academic collaboration, and community engagement in the region. We are grateful for the opportunity, along with our fellow partners, to contribute to the success of this important conference, as well as the events for the entire month, and look forward to continuing our support for the advancement of Garifuna culture and heritage in the future. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mrs. McBarnett, Dr. McBarnett. And I think you could do a little better with that Come on. We heard it from Darky, Mr. Williams right here. He asked, he implored, volunteer with the foundation. And then he followed that up with help to get the message out. And then Dr. McBarnett came and she registered the commitment of the University of the West Indies, in which she said that UE is proud to offer support to the 2026 Garifuna Conference, and rightly so. It has been named a top-ranking university, a top-ranking institution among universities globally. So there we have it. Let's put our hands together again. We would now invite Miss Nashaki Samuel. She is a representative of the Ministry of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, Digital Transformation, and Information. Let's welcome her as she comes, please.
Good morning, everyone. Teachers, students, good to see you here today. For several years, the Ministry of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, Digital Transformation, and Information has collaborated with the Garifuna Heritage Foundation to host educational activities celebrating Garifuna heritage in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Such activities include the school festival, which you will hear about later. These efforts have reached students and the wider Vincentian society, fostering deep cultural awareness and pride. Last year, we launched an essay writing competition as part of Heritage Month activities. It engaged students from various secondary schools, with winners receiving attractive prizes. While participation was lower than hoped, the overwhelming positive response inspired us to expand and enhance the competition for 2026 with even better opportunities. The essay competition this year is open to all secondary school students across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The goal is to deepen students' knowledge, research skills, understanding, and communication abilities on Garifuna heritage and culture. This isn't just about the prizes. It's about empowering our youths. By researching and articulating the contribution of Garifuna heritage, students develop a deep love for their country and its diverse cultural tapestry. This will gain a voice in national discourse, offer fresh perspectives, and actively contributing to nation building. Key benefits include building cultural preservation and pride, as students learn to appreciate Garifuna heritage, the vital role it plays in shaping the Vincentian identity and the resilience, developing essential skills like critical thinking, research, writing, and public speaking for future leaders, promoting inclusive nation building by sparking dialogue on how indigenous culture like the Garifuna can drive economic growth, social cohesion, and sustainable development, while creating long-term impact as winners will present their pieces at the Heritage Month conference to amplify their voices. This we hope will inspire youths and policymakers to integrate heritage into modern progress. In our global world, initiatives like this safeguard our unique identity while equipping young people to turn cultural pride into real opportunities. For structure and participation, we encourage one student per secondary school from Form 1 to Form 5, and the essays, they are due by February 26, 2026. There are some email addresses that were attached to the circular, which the students will send, and the participant should choose only one of the engaging topics. The ministry urged all eligible students to complete and submit their essays before the deadline. Your voice matters in celebrating and preserving our rich heritage. And also, the other activities that we are in process of planning to execute in March, the Ministry of Education as well, we are encouraging that all schools participate in. Thank you very much, everyone, and do have a blessed day.
We would have heard that the Ministry of Education is collaborating. with the Garifuna Heritage Foundation. And what better ministry to organize an essay competition that would not only benefit children during its writing and presentation, but later on in life would walk along with them and maybe provide other avenues for them to become so engaged. We thank you, Ms. Samuel, and we are happy to know that the ministry, they're fostering cultural awareness and pride, and especially where the indigenous culture of our country is concerned. We move on, and I would now have Miss Cledonna Peters, and she's the team leader for the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival from the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Culture, and Creative Industries. Let us welcome Miss Peters as she comes, please.
A pleasant good morning to everyone. Please allow me to adopt the protocol established earlier. The Department of Culture in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and the Creative Industries, in collaboration with the Garifuna Heritage Foundation and the Ministry of Education, will host the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival and History Exhibition under the theme, Children of Châteauyer, Fruits of Our Heritage. This year marks the 11th edition of the festival, and we look forward each year to this celebration of the vibrant tapestry of our Garifuna culture. Our Garifuna heritage isn't just about where we come from. It's about what connects us. It gives us a sense of belonging and teaches us to promote, preserve, and to show our appreciation for our forebears, as well as the rich cultural legacy that they have left for us to carry forward with pride. At the Department of Culture, our focus is to document, promote, preserve, and to facilitate intergenerational knowledge transfer through music, dance, poetry, choral speech, song, etc., ensuring that the culture remains a living and evolving part of our daily lives. The Department of Culture also oversees, enhances, and champions all facets of our cultural legacy. Through initiatives like these, our role is to empower students to connect with their heritage and to take pride in their identity. With this in mind, the National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival and History Exhibition evokes the touch of spark in our teachers and students. All things considered, this festival epitomizes the fact that the art makes learning our history more fun and exciting. What would life be without culture? What would life be without the arts? The arts make learning our history more fun and exciting in as much as it helps us to remember our heritage with pride. The arts, all forms of the arts, bring to life all that we are about as we work hand in hand to revitalize our rich Garifuna heritage here in Urumi, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. The National Schools Garifuna Folk Festival commences on Friday, March 6, 2026, with a march past from the Bishop's College grounds to the Independence Park, formerly the Victoria Park, from 8:30 a.m. Cultural activities will officially kick off at 9 a.m. Performances will be done in all domains of the arts, such as dance, song, music, choral speech, poetry, or a medley with which would be a combination of any two categories mentioned earlier. Awards would be given out to the most outstanding school in each of the aforementioned domains. Furthermore, awards would be granted to the best overall theme Garifuna presentation and the most creative use of the Garifuna colors. During the march, awards would be given out to the largest group of students involved in the march, the most organized group, and the best Garifuna chant. As part of the festival, exhibits would be on display in the form of foods, artifacts, and the history of our ancestors. This history exhibition will be undertaken by the secondary schools. Awards will be granted to the secondary schools in the following areas: most outstanding traditional booth, most outstanding research paper, most outstanding oral presentation, and the most creative local dish. One of the newest but main highlights of the festival is the Garifuna Fashion Show. Students would be adjudged for the most outstanding Garifuna fashion, and each year it is getting bigger, brighter, and more fashionable. In this fashion show, we urge the festival students and teachers to rep their Garifuna colors, yellow, black, and white, as they simultaneously showcase with pride the true representation of the Garifuna colors, the yellow, white, and black, indicative of the Amerindians, the food we eat from the cassava, the Africans, and also to the peace and tranquility in and among Garinagu. As I conclude, I reiterate that the festival will be held on Friday, 6th March 2026, with participation from both primary and secondary schools across the island. We are encouraging schools near and far who haven't confirmed their participation as yet to come on board now as we work hand in hand to promote, conserve, and celebrate our rich Garifuna heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Peters. Now, I have worked at the Ministry of Culture, the Department of Culture. And when I was there, this program came into being. It was absolutely fantastic because the tasks given to students were so varied and engaging and interesting that once they participated, they never forgot it. I was there reminiscing, I want to even go and you use an adult fashion thing too. Do something first, no man. Come on. Yes? But I can tell you, I applaud the department, when you say department or the ministry? Help me. The department of, I applaud them because it is now so varied. So if you don't like even the colors, when you go down there, you're going to find something that you like and something that is going to interest you and something that will carry you through. You might never not miss another Garifuna conference. And I'm saying this to the general public out there too. Visit the Victoria Park on when? Friday the 6th of March. You notice? Visit Independence Park on Friday the 6th of March. Give the children your support.
Children of Châteauguay, children of Châteauguay, we rise from the soil of your name. From hills that remember footsteps, fire and flame. We are the fruits of thy labor, bitter and sweet. Rise by struggle, exile, and bare bleeding feet. You stood where the cannon met breath and bone, chose land over chains, chose death over thorn. Your voice still drums in the sword and the shell. Story our grandmother guarded too well. We carry your courage in muscle and song, in hands that still plant till the season feels long. Empire passed through us like a violent storm, but left us more rooted, not shattered, not torn. Children of Châteauguay, we bloom where we bloom. From human's heart to far scattered homes. The fruit of thy labor now falls back into time, not to rot in the dust, but to see the next time.
Good morning, everyone. Let me establish protocol. First, let me extend our sincere appreciation
to the National Garifuna Heritage Foundation for inviting the National Public Library Archives and Documentation Services to be part of this engaging conference. The Bushy exhibition is one of the many ways that the National Public Library seeks to educate the public about our culture, our heritage, and the preservation going forward. The exhibition that we're going to have is a spill-off of our annual Bushy Festival that takes place every year in October. Visitors to our festival will be exposed to a variety of herbs, commonly called bush, that we use for teas and medicinal purposes. You will not just see information, you will interact with the live plant, displayed in a very unique and creative way to engage, so you'll feel excited about it. You will see plants that you normally passed along the street, and you didn't even know that they have some value to us health-wise. Also, at our exhibition, you will be given an opportunity to sample or taste some of these teas, and this will be done at a specific time. The National Public Library think that this is a valuable information that we need to have, and we are looking forward to the general public to come and partake in this exhibition. Finally, I would like to congratulate the Garifuna Heritage Foundation on this conference. On behalf of the director and staff, we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Standing to my left is a filmmaker extraordinaire.
Film.
He says a film is a film.
Film.
He say is a film, right? A film maker. And he is none other than Mr. Ackley Olton. I think you need to get acquainted with his work. It's phenomenal. And you know, he is pushing our country out there. And we need to give him our support, even by checking in and watching it and write a comment or whatever. When you meet him, say, actually, I watched that thing. That was bad boy, bad John thing.
Or you could bring me a project with a budget.
Oh, yes, we could do that too. You have 2 cameras. You can never tell the far-reaching effects of those.
Those two.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
So here is Ackley.
All right. So, first of all, I'd like to thank the Garifuna Heritage Foundation for inviting me to collaborate once again. It's really great that the organization acknowledges the power of filmmaking. We are all here in this room because we believe in stories. Stories have brought us together, and stories will keep us together. This is what we're doing. We're in the story business. The conference is literally about fine-tuning the details on our national narrative in a kind of a way, because people come and they share what they've researched, and we get to benefit from that. So when it comes to the Indigenous Film Showcase, this year, 2026, the International Garifuna Conference welcomes the Indigenous Film Showcase at the University of the West Indies Global Campus, the 11th to the 12th of March. The showcase returns Garifuna stories to Euromin, celebrating identity, resilience, and cultural memory through film. So, in terms of the screenings, the first film on the list is called Quest for Euromin, which is it's going to show on the 11th of March, 12 p.m. It's a 30-minute film, and it's a first-generation Garifuna American who reconnects 2 communities across borders in Garifuna, English, and Spanish. So you'll get to see bits and pieces of the whole diaspora. Well, from America to Central America. We know who we are, so, they'll have to benefit from interacting with us. The second film is called Crafting Our Indigenous Memory. This film spotlights on the indigenous history, the artisans, the elders, and the creative practices of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it shows how we here in St. Vincent have been keeping our culture alive and passing on tradition through art, craft, and cultural memory. Oh yes, so it's going to be at 12 p.m. and it's a 30-minute film on the 12th. The final film is Yuramin, the Garifuna Story, Resistance, and Cultural Heritage of Guatemala. It's directed by a team, a young man called Arnold Ciego and Gilroy Alvarez, and they trace their Garifuna memory from St. Vincent to Guatemala, exploring language, music, and resilience. The showcase preserves indigenous histories, honors elders, and inspires younger generations. Students, scholars, artists, and community members are invited to listen, reflect, and reconnect with our shared indigenous heritage. Thank you.
In other words, don't miss it. Don't miss any. Right? You were given the dates and the time, the names, and so on, so you have no excuse whatsoever. Okay. We will now have Mr. Marlon Joseph. He's right over there. And he's a team leader for a fantastic activity we are going to have at the conference. The reenactment, the 1797 reenactment of the expulsion from our beloved St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Yurume. Let's welcome Marlon as he comes, please.
Special thanks to the inimitable Gloria Williams, good friend and colleague. I'm so happy that I came after the cultural presentation, because we saw in that presentation by the C.W. Prescott students just how the creative arts can be used as an agency for culture memory and historic memory, which is really what I'm going to speak to this morning. So, for the very first time, featuring in our International Garifuna Conference, we are going to have a dramatic memorialization of the 1797 exile. So we're going to have a reenactment of the Garifuna initial exile from St. Vincent, known then to them as Yurume, to Balisu, and then ultimately the 1797 exile to Roatan, Honduras. So this is going to take place on the 11th of March, right here at the University of the West Indies Global Campus. That date is familiar because it is the same day when the conference will officially open. So we begin at 10 a.m. Please mark the time, right? 10 a.m., that is when we're going to have this reenactment, and it is going to be a prelude to the official opening of the 13th International Garifuna Conference. So what do we hope to achieve with this reenactment, or why are we doing this reenactment? Well, one, to commemorate. And when we talk about commemorate, we are talking about commemorating a very important part of our Vincentian history, remembering that exile from St. Vincent and the Grenadines of the Garifuna. It is also about education, building public awareness, bringing attention, ensuring that there's no erasure to this critical episode in our Vincentian history. And we're using the medium of the creative arts to facilitate this. And also, which for me is important, it is about reckoning with history, reckoning with one of the most painful episodes of Vincentian history. And when we talk about reckoning with history, we are talking about telling uncomfortable truths. We are talking about confronting uncomfortable truths. We are talking about confronting and facing historical wrongs, historical injustices. And we know that the Garifuna expulsion to Balisu and ultimate exile in 1797 was an act of injustice, that it was a painful experience that generations of Garifuna and Garinago are still battling with today. So, just to give you a snippet of the facts surrounding this reenactment, so in 1796, after the death of Paramount Chief Joseph Chatoyer, about 5,000 Garifuna men, women, and children were expelled to the island of Baliso, a barren, inhospitable 320-acre island, which was uninhabited at the time. Half of that number died from starvation and diseases. So by 1797, after 6 months of them landing on Baliso, only 2,248 of them made it off of Baliso. We're talking from an initial number of 5,000. This expulsion and exile in particular was a painful and traumatic experience. And we cannot take it for granted that descendants of Garifuna, Garinago, here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and even in Urumi, that they continue to grapple with this painful historical experience. And we at the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, we are aware of the power of art, the creative arts. So we can use the creative arts to help to process trauma, how we can use the creative arts to help to build consciousness and to preserve historic memory. And also, and Ackley spoke to the importance of storytelling. It is also about us reclaiming the agency to tell our own stories. So, we are looking forward to seeing you right here at the University of the West Indies Global Campus on March the 11th, 10 a.m. for the reenactment of the 1797 exile from Urumi. Looking forward to see you then.
Thank you, Marlon. Some very pertinent information you just delivered there. Gave me shivers when I heard those figures. Come on. We would now invite the team leader for the Garifuna Diaspora Visit, Regional Integration Diaspora Unit, none other than Mr. Maxwell Charles, to come and give us remarks.
Thank you very much. I would adopt the protocol that came before and simply say good morning. The Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit, we are proud to associate with all Garifuna activities. I have here this morning 2 members of our staff. We have Ms. Linda Grant and Mrs. Itisha Webb. Now, let me just make something clear here to explain. Our ministry is now called the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs. RIDU would be replaced by the Department of Diaspora Affairs. So our department would be more focused now on diaspora matters, okay? It's one of the changes that has come about very, very recently. We have always worked together with the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Tourism, and the Garifuna Foundation. And we again this year would be identifying with the foundation as they host this 13th conference. I must also say that the Garifuna, the foundation, is working again perhaps more so this year with us for the other activity, which would be around the same time. And I refer to another activity, but the visit of our Garifuna brothers to our shores. It's the Garifuna Heritage Rite of Passage and Pilgrimage. Okay? It's one of the themes that they use in recent times to ensure that youths by the age of 13 would have visited, they don't call it St. Vincent, but Urumi. Okay? Again, this visit is a collaborative effort. The regional integration, well, as I said, the Department of Diaspora Affairs, Ministry of Culture, Tourism, and the Garifuna Foundation. Now, they would be in St. Vincent around the same time as we're having the conference. Okay? We're still in the process of getting our numbers right and planning the usual activities for their visits. Now, while here, of course, they would be involved in many tours to the different parts of our island. They'll be participating in programs in Greg's, programs in Sandy Bay, and so on. And of course, that visit to the obelisk, very emotional for them. You know, because when they go to that place, they remember their maximum leader, Chatoyer, and how he was killed. They would also be going, they can't leave out Baliso. And let me pause here a while. I've been listening to some programs on Facebook or YouTube, one of them, and they're tracing the Garifuna people back to St. Vincent, the origin. And then from St. Vincent, they mentioned that they went to Central America, Rotan. But I get the impression that they are leaving out a very, very important stopover, so to speak, Baliso. Okay? There can be no Garifuna history without Baliso. Okay? And Marlon a while ago spoke of some of the atrocities there. Okay? So, Baliso is now ours, and the way forward. My suggestion is that it must again be a collaborative effort as to what we're going to do with Baliso. I can see government playing a major role, and I can see all our indigenous organizations in St. Vincent playing a role, and of course, our international Garifuna organizations. We have to work together. Now, we're going to perhaps discover new things. So as we discover, I'm suggesting that we write. We must not allow others to write our history for us again. So we write as we discover. Tell our youths about our history, not the type of history that I learned in the 1960s. I'm glad that we are educating our youth so that as they grow, they would know our history. And let me also point out here that Garifuna International, I think they love St. Vincent, you know. They love Urumi. And perhaps they love it more than us because they recognize that there is where we came from. Okay? We were exiled. From St. Vincent, from Urumi, to Baliso, and then to Rotan, and they spread it to Central America, and now the Bronx and California. That is our history. Of course, we cannot leave out our black history, because without the Africans, you couldn't have Garifuna. Okay? So we look forward to the visit again, and we know that you're going to be involved as we welcome our Garifuna brothers and sisters to Urumi. In closing, let us work together for the common good. Let us write our history. I can't help repeating that. Others must not write our history. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It is so great to hear that RIDU is now called a Department of Diaspora Affairs or Diaspora Matters. It means, therefore, that this thing is going to spread a little quicker. Like a forest fire, we want it, Mr. Charles. You know, spread so that the smallest child, like these students, they came and they said a poem and so, but they could at least give a little idea about what is Garifuna and stuff like that. And we really, really look forward to that. I like what you said. We write as we discover. You know, somebody might meet me and heard about me and write a book about me without ever talking to me. You understand? And it's something like that he's saying. As it uncovers itself, we write. Make sure what is being uncovered is correct, and we write. And it's not hard to write. Don't think we have a lot of writers in here, you know, but you ain't discovered it in yourself yet. And we don't only write a book. We could write a poem. We could write a paragraph. We could write a message to yourself. We can write. Right? We could write, right? Great. Okay, we are winding down. And I would now like to ask Mrs. Zoila Ellis Brown, Technical Advisor to the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, to come now and give us some remarks. Let's welcome her as she comes. Tireless worker, dedicated, devoted worker, somebody who keeps the ship floating on the waters. I didn't hear the round of applause.
Thank you very much, Sister Gloria. And you are also a good example of a tireless worker. So we need to give you a round of applause. Before I commence, let me say thank you to all present here, especially our children from Fancy and our children from C.W. Prescott who are here to participate in this media launch. It gives me great pleasure to, on behalf of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, to firstly acknowledge the collaboration that we have had, not just at this month of Heritage for 2026, this celebration, but in the years gone by. And the collaboration, as President Darky Williams said, has extended and deepened, and we are indeed grateful at the Garifuna Heritage Foundation for such collaboration, particularly with the UWI Global Campus, the Ministry of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, Digital Transformation and Information, the Ministry of Sports, Youth, Culture, Creative Industries, the Public Library, the National Public Library, and Archives and Documentation, who had collaborated with us in the past and now is back on board. Welcome, Ms. Donna. Mr. Alton Ackley, who has been a strong supporter of the process. Thank you. Ever since he was small. And that's just the other day, so, you know, he has a long more way to go. Mr. Charles and the formerly REDU, but now Foreign Trade, Foreign Affairs, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs. And of course, all other persons in the communities who are not here today, but who in Greg's, in Fancy, in Sandy Bay, who have been and continue to do important work in relation to the Garifuna heritage and culture, promotion of this important culture and heritage in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or Urume. We stand on the shoulders of many persons, many organizations over the years. I just digress a little to remember the National Youth Council that did important work in the in history in the past, and other organizations of that form, of that nature, who are now not as active, but on whose shoulders we stand. We cannot forget the hard work that has been done by other persons and organizations. I thought it was just important to say that because we too will become part of the historical framework, and we would like that to be acknowledged, that there will be the future in terms of these young people coming. And Sister Gloria, we have after I close, I've been informed by the Fancy Government School that they have an item they would like to do before we close. Yes. So we have that to look forward to. My task is simple: to speak to the conference and to give some background to the International Garifuna Conference, the 13th edition of which we are very proud to be hosting along with the University of the West Indies Global Campus of St. Vincent and the Grenadines this year. And I must say, it is indeed heartwarming that the head of site mentioned that their collaboration is deepening and ongoing, because we believe that it is a significant tertiary, it is the key tertiary institution in the region. And its leadership has, over the years, championed the cause of reparations and also championed the cause of indigenous development, in development of indigenous communities in the Caribbean. I think that there is a scholarship being offered. Am I still? Yes. Dr. McBarnett can speak. There is a scholarship for indigenous people, which is still in existence. I don't know how many Vincentians are aware of this scholarship to UWI to study as a person from an indigenous community. There is a special scholarship which is offered by the University of the West Indies. The process of accessing that, I'm sure Dr. McBarnett would be able to say on a separate forum. But it is things like this that we understand it is a work in progress. This connection with our past, which was a very brutal past, and let us not fool ourselves. We are now seeking to repair that work, the brutality that occurred in this land, and not just Urume, not just St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the entire Caribbean was a playground for a colonial empire. Now, the conference has had as its objectives the discussion of these issues, which are not easy issues to unravel, but it has gained traction. These issues have gained traction, and certainly in Urume, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have seen a greater discussion, acceptance, and embracing of these issues, and we are very happy for any part that we have played in that development. Why is that? Because we have to do this work. We have to discover ourselves so that we can move forward into the future. And the Garifuna heritage is a significant part of the history of this country. And so we are so proud that it has been embraced and is continuing to be embraced by our leadership at the political level. We are very pleased to note that last year at our conference, Dr. Godwin Friday, who is now Prime Minister, but who was then leader of the opposition, attended our conference and made extremely supportive remarks to the extent that he supports any action related to the development of the Garifuna our heritage and culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and certainly was in support of the acquisition of Baliso. So we have a common agenda, which we wish to, from the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, to develop at the private and public sector level in partnership and collaboration with the diaspora. We are at this 13th International Garifuna Conference having this discussion on the backdrop of the historic announcement in March 2025 by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the island of Baliso was being acquired by the government for the people and future generations of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that was a very important and welcome announcement. So now this conference is intended to focus on continuing the conversation regarding that sacred space. Baliso. How should it be used, maintained, and supported, not just by Vincentians at home and abroad, but by the Garifuna diaspora and the international community? The conference will seek to have presentations on Baliso, as well as the issue of reparations. Reparations, as you heard Marlon Joseph speak to, what the atrocities of Baliso, but also there are other issues which cry out loudly for reparations from those responsible. So reparations is also an important agenda item that will be discussed at the conference. We have a unique perspective in that the issues that impact St. Vincent and the Grenadines are not just limited to this geographic space. There is a diaspora which encompasses Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and other parts of the world, including a large community in the United States, that have a vested interest in what happens here. That makes a big difference to how we develop and how we perceive development. Certainly, it is these sorts of issues that will be aired and ventilated at our conference as to how can this inclusion occur. We have had statements in the past from the New Democratic Party that they have been offering, that they were considering or thinking of offering honorary citizenship to all Garifuna members of the diaspora. That is a conversation that may or may not be renewed under the current leadership, but certainly it is one that was made in 2015. It is these types of discussions that we need to have because it is a very important part of the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The conference will be held here at the UWI Global Campus from March the 11th to the 13th, and it certainly will be a rich intellectual exercise because papers will be presented by academics, practitioners, and other participants on a broad range of topics, dealing with several heads. 1, reparations. 2, Baliso. 3, the potential of starting of Garifuna language training here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are all topics that have been discussed over the years and continue to be of relevance to our people here and abroad. The conference will commence, as Marlon stated, with the opening ceremony on March the 11th. And the reenactment of the exile was is significant because it was on March 11, 1797, that 10 ships left Baliso for Central America to arrive on April 12th in Roatan, Honduras. So the day is significant historically, and the moment is significant because it's created such a traumatic experience for our people that we have to continue celebration in Belize. On November 29th, there's 26th, there's a celebration in Guatemala. All these countries marking the survival and resilience of the Garifuna people. We would like this year to commence the process of celebrating or commemorating the departure and exile, not because it is important, but also because we survived. And we must always remember that Baliso and the trauma happened, but we survived.